Welcome to a special Wednesday live stream edition of the Hard Rock Show. I'm Andrew.
I'm Dave.
Special Wednesday night edition this week. Dave's got some things he needs to take care of tomorrow night with the family, so we're going to do this tonight and have some fun with you all on a special Wednesday edition. Back to normal next week, in theory, but we'll see how things play out.
As normal as we get.
Well, that's it. As normal as we get. We're just not that normal. So that's that. As always, got another massive show ahead. We're going to do a little bit of another King of the Riff mini battle between Deep Purple and Blue Oyster Cult. We're going to do a classic album review with an album from King Diamond. We're going to play What Are the Odds, which we haven't done for a little while now. I'll also chat about our picks of the weeks when it comes to music and news and releases and all that sort of stuff coming up. So, yeah, we hope you enjoy the show tonight. A big thank you, as always, to our fantastic sponsors in Squid Ink Screenprinting, Alt-Cvlt Rockstar Finance. Their details, just like ours, are in the description box for this episode, whether you're watching or tuning in later on or listening to the audio, whatever you want to do, whenever you do so. Thank you for taking the time to sit down with us. But also, yeah, check out our links and follow us wherever you prefer to do so. And do the same thing for our sponsors. It's greatly appreciated. It helps us out directly. Helps us out. And if you want to help us more directly, check out our Patreon page for more information on that. Doing all the usual things here. We've got some people coming. So here we go. Terry's going, hi guys. So he's going, good to see you. Thank you for joining in tonight. And Nicole's going, hello. Did I miss Wednesday and today is Thursday? If only. Believe me, I wish it was that case, but no, it is unfortunately still Wednesday. Rowan's here. Good to see you again, buddy. Hopefully keeping well. Same with Darren, another regular. Good to see you again. Same with Sally. Good to see you again as well. Always here. And same with Michael. Good to see you again, buddy. The photos are fantastic, so keep them coming, please, in the lounge. And Basher is here tonight too, so good evening to you as well. So make sure you get involved in the comments as we go through things tonight. Give us your thoughts, say hi, all that sort of stuff that we usually get you to do. We love the interaction. We sort of pull up the comments on screen where we can. And I was going to say something else, and I've completely gone fucking blank on what I was going to say. So, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, we'll do the rounds quickly. Dave, how you going this week, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. Weather is fantastic. It's nice and warm, so plenty of time outside to get things done, tidy up for Christmas. Family's busy. Seems to be everything's happening all at once, as it does this time of year. Work is busy. Listening to lots of music, and yeah, Halloween's over, so not so much horror movies anymore. But don't really have time for that anymore either. So yeah, just work, music, family. Apart from that, nothing really exciting to report. How you doing, man?
Yeah, good. Same old. It's just, work is busy now and getting into the sort of home run stretch for it all, which always crosses over nicely into the home run stretch for TV deadlines for this year as well. So I think I've got to submit everything by about the 9th of December or something like that to get us through till sort of early to mid-January kind of thing. So that's my now crunch time. So we're filming stuff well and truly in advance. So for those paying attention or playing along, check out our socials tomorrow because there'll be video asking for your input on what we should play over the Christmas break on TV. So there's something coming up on that. I know it's early. We're going to do some stuff around Christmas just a bit early to get some things lined up. And we'll give it a little bit of a break for a couple of weeks. And then December, it's going to be, it's all over. When December hits, it's all over. Our last stream, I think we're planning it. What did we say, Dave? We're planning our last stream to be on December 8th. And all of our extra content will have wrapped filming before then. So that'll be about where we wind things up for the year. But no, everything's good. Just, same old, keep on keeping on. Do have to apologize for not releasing things this week like the deep cuts yet and the re-release of the previous stream. I haven't got around to it because we're doing this on Wednesday night and I've also got to get the TV deadline stuff done. So it's just been a bit of not quite enough hours to get everything done in just that one day shorter. So it'll be out tomorrow or Friday or whatever else. So just sort of keep your eye out on things and we'll post anyway. So you'll see it all there. Just make sure you're subscribed and you won't miss anyway. Yeah, we'll kick things off just quickly by saying a bit of a condolences note here. Dan McCafferty of Nazareth, the original vocalist from memory, I'm pretty sure that's right, he passed away. He retired from touring. He was the original guitarist, started the band's 50-something years old now. I forget the precise years. I think 68 was when they started. Correct me if I'm wrong, people. But yeah, he retired from live music or the band in general in 2013, I think it was. I think he was their mainstay from beginning to that time. So it's a shame to see another one go, but it is that thing where we've said it a few times now where it is just sort of going to keep coming now more and more. I mean, for a band that's been around that long, it's probably a huge shock that it's actually probably taken this long, all things considered. But it is still sad news all around. So just a quick note here saying our condolences to his family, friends, his bandmates, his fans, all that sort of stuff. Yeah. So for the family and friends and those that loved Dan McCafferty, our sincerest condolences. Anything you want to add there, Dave?
No, I'll just echo your sentiments.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I didn't know about that. Sad news.
Now, it came through early this morning. I think it came through the news. So yeah, the family confirmed it, all that sort of stuff there. Mish Cat Davey is saying, have a nice holiday, boys. We will when we get to it. We haven't got there yet.
I'll work for that shit.
Yeah, we've got a few weeks to go yet, and then we'll come back in sort of early to mid-January, I reckon, is when we'll come back in. But obviously, just stay tuned. Bell's here. Good to see you again, Bell. Hopefully, you're keeping nice. You're going, hi, Andrew. Hi, Dave. Good to see you again. Love having you here with us again. Awesome. Rowan saying, Dan, we're back. Dan, we're back. I'm not sure.
Andrews?
Yes. No, Dan McCafferty is what. So, well, we'll see. But yeah, that would be a neat trick, maybe next Halloween. And also, just on a more personalized note here, while we move on to things here, just a quick little get well to Nikki, who's currently on the KISS cruise and then got herself her first round of COVID, unfortunately. So, Nikki, hopefully you are keeping as well as you possibly can. Get your rest, and hopefully it's not cramping your style too much. But yeah, do what you got to do to look after yourself and come home as well as you can. But yeah, get well soon to Nikki. I think that's about it. I deleted that. I misheard. Yeah. I don't know when you deleted it because it came through in the feed here and it hasn't gone away from my feed. So it's like, okay, well, that came through. No, Dan won't be back. This isn't the Terminator where things have to do weird little rounds. Alrighty, let's move on.
Maybe at the Ozfest Metaverse.
What was that?
Maybe he'll be at the Ozfest Metaverse.
Well, that's a possibility. That is interesting. That one we've discussed it our last stream, I think it was, or the one before. Yeah, and recently, and the lineup's been announced for that now. We'll get to the news side of things shortly. That's not one of the ones we've planned on covering tonight, but it's an interesting concept seeing Motorhead, a show being put into that one. I mean, it is sort of tying into exactly what we talked about when we did discuss it last time. So we'll see how it shakes out. It's not too far away now. But anyway, let's get into the regular proceedings of things here. In the comments, as well as in the description box, you're going to find the first bit of music for tonight, and that is a re-release of a song. So we are going back to the future in this one, I guess. Guns N' Roses have released a 2022 version of November Rain. Dave's choice of the week when it comes to songs, of course, when Guns N' Roses release anything new, it's going to be his choice of the week. So, Dave, tell us why you picked this one and what you like about it.
Well, I think half the audience just groaned and said, fucking typical. Yeah, this is off the this is off the box set that's coming out on Friday of the remastered version. But the only track that they altered and added stuff to it rather than just remixing it. And I have to admit, for many, many years when I first heard this as a kid, I thought it was actual strings. It wasn't until I was older and wiser I realized that, hey, that's not strings, that's a synthesizer. Turns out it's all done and composed and performed by Axl. I don't know if it was budgetary that they couldn't get a full orchestra in at the time, but the world is right now because, for better or worse, the synthesizers have been removed and it's actually being replaced by a 50-piece orchestra. And I have to say, it sounds fucking amazing. I mean, the music video that was released, it had the strings and the violins, so that fed into my illusion. I had to get that illusion. Yeah. Fed into my illusion. I certainly used it. And yeah, but for the most part, the composition hasn't changed. It's just so much better hearing actual string instruments. Once you know that's a synth, you can tell. It's most noticeable in the intro, and there's some additional orchestration in the final verse and the bridge. And the outro solo, I think the orchestration just complements / a solo a lot more. It really brings out both. It's been remixed by Steve Wilson of Porcupine Tree, which I find really interesting because he's done a remarkable job with this. Don't know if he does the entire remixing of the whole album or if he's just worked on this song. But the sound quality of this is great because everything that I know already has been heightened and it sounds great. So I'm looking forward to hearing the whole remastered album. But just the addition of these strings I thought was really, really cool. It feels like the song is fully complete now. So I've been a big fan of this song for many, many years. Love the solo, love the piano, love the vocals, love the story. Love the fact that the chick dies in the music video on the wedding day, and the guy killed the cake in the music video. So it's cool to revisit an old classic, but I revisit this song just about every day. Yeah, before I'd annoy the shit out of everyone and just do this one.
Well, for the record, when you put your little gag in there, Dave, Nicole's gone boom tish, so there we go. And Bash has gone November Rain, awesome song. It is an awesome song. It is fundamentally at its core an awesome song. It's the anniversary of Use Your Illusion 1 and 2, so a special box set coming out, which is why this is all here. It's like Dave said, it's had the addition of a 50-piece orchestra to go with it. Otherwise, it's just a remix using the original tracks and probably the original guys, to be honest. It is very well done. It is all those things, but at the same time, it does kind of also feel like a bit of a novelty piece at the same time. It's waited this long to sort of get it done kind of thing. So, why now? Well, because it gets to game the system. It gets to punch out the song and get it up in the charts, get some more streams and some more sales and all that kind of thing. It's all a big marketing exercise. But that said, it is very well done. I did like the way the orchestra complemented the original work in the song, and it's actually, I think it suits it better than the original synth work does in a lot of ways. But that said, it's kind of hard to hear this song any other way after so long, if that makes sense. It's really hard to sort of, to suspend your disbelief in that regard or juxtapose it differently in your mind. It's just not one of those things that sort of works that easily. But I think it's definitely worth checking out. I mean, it's a longer song anyway, and if you like the song, I wonder how much Triple M are going to flog this one. But
I haven't heard it yet.
Well, okay, there we go. It is one of those things where you think they would probably do it, but I don't know, maybe go 104 then. But it's a good classic song. It holds up for so many years for good reason. It's worth checking out for the addition of an orchestra. But if you don't check it out at the same time, to be fair, to be honest, you're probably not missing a huge amount. It's just one of those subtle things. It's like, okay, it's cool. It's a little novelty thing, and it's nicely done. It is well executed. I've got to give credit to the mix. Like to remix and to get it sounding this good, when there's a big addition being put into it, you could easily fuck it up. And they've done very, very well to sort of keep the original sort of feel and vibe of it all while adding something pretty spectacular to it at the end of the day. Because that's a big bit of work to add 50-piece orchestra to it. So well done. It is well done, even though it is just a whole, let's have some fun with it, But it is what it is. Helen's here saying, evening, chaps. Good to see you again, Helen. Hopefully you're keeping well out there. Andrew's going, yes, rest in peace, Dan McCafferty. Yes, we completely agree. We covered that a bit earlier on. And Darren saying cash grab, which, well, that's the point of a re-release of an album. Pretty much.
It could have been a much bigger cash grab.
Okay.
To be honest, I'm a little disappointed with the content of this box set. I know there wasn't any leftover songs from the era. A few demos would have been cool, but they're not on there. But they pro-shot so many shows from that tour, and we get 2. So it could have been a lot better. It could have cost a lot more. It's pretty pricey as it is, but they could have gotten a lot more out of it.
Doesn't make it more of a cash grab then if they're not really giving you as much value for money as you thought they could?
I think they could have charged a lot more and put more in.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're going to do this, it's only the hardcore fans that are going to go for it anyway, to be honest. No 15-year-old has never heard Guns N' Roses before is going to go rushing out to buy this thing tomorrow. It's just not going to happen.
It's not a long-term bands. It's a collectible.
Yeah, exactly. So your market at this point in time. I think they could have. But who knows? Maybe they're holding it over for another anniversary down the line and they'll release more then.
Possibly.
Otherwise, maybe something happened and the files got fucked in a flood or something. I don't know. It could be any number of reasons. That stuff happens.
There was a fire at the studio at some warehouse that was housing heaps and heaps of content from different musicians. So I don't know.
No.
Just waiting for the spaghetti box set now.
Yeah. Oh, it'll be interesting to see how it goes when it comes. Are you going to get the box set on Friday?
I want to, but I'll probably have to wait till after Christmas. Money's really tight at the moment. But I'll get the CD version, like all vinyl. It's grossly overpriced for fucking vinyl.
Yeah.
But the CD version's fair. DVDs as well. But the box itself looks cool because it's got little triangles pointed out. You look at it from one side, you got Use Your Illusion 1. You look at it from this way, you got Use Your Illusion 2. So you look at it full on, you got this blending of the two.
Okay.
That in itself is pretty good.
It's like that old hologram, like the old school holograms where you flip it one way or the other and it sort of changed the image.
No, it's more the picture because it's all spiky. Okay. You look at it side on, and you look at it that way. You got one. Look at it this way. You got 2.
All right. Okay. Interesting. I'll have to have a look at that. All right. Well, if anyone out there apart from Dave wants to get it, then let us know what you think as well. But Jeff has joined us. Good to see you, buddy. Hopefully you're keeping well. On highlights. Hope you're both well. Good to see you again, pal. Bell says, haven't heard it yet. Is it like Guns N' Roses doing a Guns N' Roses cover? It's using the original tracks, so it's not even a cover. It's just an additional layer to the original song.
Like Nightwish playing along with Guns N' Roses.
What was that, sorry?
It's like Nightwish playing along with Guns N' Roses.
Yeah, pretty much, actually. It's not bad. It is well done, though. Helen says, don't discount that re-releases are blokes in twilight years musically, vocally, but I'm sure we all get it. Yeah, no, it is what it is. No one's really going to... I don't think it's fair or required to go kicking them for re-releasing anniversary editions. I think it's fine to do it. It's just a matter of how much value for money you get out of it when you're putting it out there at all.
I want the Metallica ones. They're fucking great.
They're big. Like, they're huge. But Kiss also did some good jobs with stuff over the years as well. So, if it's done well, it's really good because it's value for money for the fan. If it's done poorly and it's just a cash grab, then it feels a bit bitter. But either way, they've got to do what they've got to do to make their retirement work out or their later years work out regardless. So, yeah, I don't begrudge anyone trying to make money out of it. It's just a case of, what's the value for the purchaser. Pasha says, Triple M, classic rock, same songs over and over again. Why not new music? I don't know if you've picked up on it too, but I only hear Triple M now when I'm in the car with Jody. And that's because it's a work car and she only listens to that or Gold. And they've rebranded as basically being Rock's greatest hits now. They're not even like a rock station. They're just Rock's greatest hits. So we're not going to get new rock on Australian radio anytime soon. The only place that could happen in mainstream channels, we're not talking about PBS and Triple R and all sorts of stuff. They do a great job. But Triple J be the only hope. And until they change management, that ain't going to happen. So all the best on that one. That's why we do what we do. Anyway, moving on to the next song, and I'm going to change pace to something that is new. Speaking of new Aussie rock, here we go. In the comments, in the description box, you need to find the links. The latest track from Sanny, Veloo in I Don't Believe the Truth. Now, for those who have followed us for quite some time, you'll have known or hopefully know a little band from way back called Emperor. Sanny was the frontman for the band, and it's been a bit sort of popping up here and there, but a bit quiet overall since the demise of that band. And so this is like a new single, not his only first single back. He's done another one before this, I think, with a similar vibe and feel in that. But he's sort of getting more back into the swing of things, which is really good to see. So for me personally, it's just great to have Sanny back. Always been a huge talent that I've really enjoyed his stuff with it. Now it's my choice. I'll go first on this one. I think it's actually, for the video alone, it's worth checking out because it's very clever, very well done. I think it's worth a look for just how it's all green screen kind of stuff, but it's very, very witty. I liked how it was put together. It's a very contemporary song. It's one of those ones that's a bit reflective over the last few years, and I think it's going to be interesting over the next few years, in particular the next 5 years, to see how much what's happened over the last 3 years or whatever is sort of going to filter through in creative projects overall and what that's going to do. Because, the arts are always a representation or an observation of the times they are brought about in a lot of respects. And so I think that over the next few years, we're going to find some songs that are going to be highly reflective of it. This one's funny. It takes a shot at pretty much all the media covering pretty much anything and everything. And then having a shot at governments as well, which is, it's all fair game, especially for artists. So I think it's very well done, but there's some clever wordplay in this one as well. I thought it was really intelligently done, not just all the video stuff, but the actual songs, the lyrics was very, very clever. But also there's one hell of a hook in this, that the song just gets stuck in your head so damn quick. It's not funny. It's really catchy. And it does that thing where, there's a bit of bite and meaning to the lyrics, but it's disguised in a really happy sort of feel-good kind of a song that, it's that whole Velvet Sledgehammer kind of effect where, they do things pretty, subtly, but very intelligently. Nice little solo in this one as well. Nothing quite like what we got in November Rain a minute ago, but still a nice little solo in this one. And I'm looking forward to more. For me, it's really funny seeing, because before Emperor, Sanny was in a punk band, and I think he ended up having to leave the country because of a gig he did. So not Australia. I think it was Singapore. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, something didn't go quite to plan, and he used to be in a punk band. And so it's good to see sort of that kind of punk, fuck the establishment attitude come through in what he was doing so well with Emperor being, the hook-based kind of stuff. So it's a good little I could be way off base, but just for me, having followed for quite some years, just feels like this sort of next evolution to everything he's done in the past. So well done, Sanny. I like it. I think it's well done and well worth checking out. Dave, what did you think of it?
Yeah, this is brilliant. I love this song. I loved Emperor when they were still around, but they were a great band, and Sanny's a great musician.
Yeah.
But this just gets you from the start because it's got such a great vibe. It's fun,
Yeah.
upbeat, and happy. And then the lyrics come in, and while they're serious, they're presented in a fun way.
Yeah.
And it's all lighthearted, but it's all about what life has been in the last 2 years. We've been through lockdowns, we've witnessed the world change. And we've all asked that question: how the fuck does my phone know so much about me? Had this conversation with somebody, and now you're showing advertisement about that.
Yeah.
I mean, I can kind of understand when I search on eBay and then I start to get ads on Facebook. It's all good, but when I'm talking, and then he mentions in the song he's had a dream, and then he started getting all these suggestions. It's the next step. But as you mentioned, the solo is awesome. I always go for solos, but the guitar tone is cool. It really puts a stamp on the song. It's very cool. And the song, the chorus is just instantly catchy. It's got a great hook. So yeah, fun little song. It's over and done in about 3.5 to 4 minutes, but it just sticks with you easily because everyone can relate to life.
Yeah.
So yeah, great song. Definitely check it out.
Cool. We agree. Nicely done. What do we got here? So going back to the comments here, Helen's gone back to the radio comment here. Triple J is full of sappy female vocalists with lack of enunciation. I honestly have no idea. I don't listen to radio anymore pretty much at all. So I'll have to take your word for it. I have no idea. Michael says re-releases might get younger fans who weren't around back when it was originally released. Especially now Guns N' Roses are touring again with most of the original lineup. The younger fans may go to their tour, buy merch, etc. That is a good point. The tour coming up might be a good little thing for that here in Australia anyway.
Yeah, but weeks. Excited.
Yeah. Not far away at all now. You'd be counting down, Dave.
Oh, yeah. Start. Like count the days.
Vinny, good to see you, buddy. He's gone, has a bit of an early Foo Fighters sound to it. It's got me curious to keep an ear of what will follow. Good pickup, lads. Thank you. And there is a previous song out as well if you like this one. So follow the YouTube channel for Sanny, and there'll be a bit more there to come in the future, I'm sure. But yeah, I'm glad that that's getting a bit of love all around. Alrighty. Before we get to our individual picks of the week, we'll get to this. Where are we at here? Where's that? There it is. So I'm pretty sure everyone's bloody seen this thing, but there is this new festival sort of kicked up. Like it's a similar thing to When We Were Young festival. It's the Sick New World Festival. It's got bands such as what we got here: System of a Down, Korn, Deftones, Incubus, Evanescence, Chevelle, Papa Roach, Mr. Bungle, Flyleaf, Spiritbox, Turnstile. There's a shitload more. This is all in America. It's Las Vegas, unfortunately, so don't get too excited, people. It's not coming here. What else? Sisters of Mercy are on this one. Placebo. Wow. Okay. Ministry, KMFDM, Cold Chamber, Killing Joke. It's a fucking lineup. Soulfly, POD, Seven Dust, Hoobastank, which is, Incubus Light. What a Filter, Lacuna Coil. I'm surprised at this. Like, this is huge. Cradle of Filth are on there. Body Count. 69 Eyes, Dave. There's one for you.
One for me.
Monster Magnet, Orgy, My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult. Wow. And heaps more. Like I've just scratched the surface on this. Just wanted to basically touch on this and go, okay, we'll get to more of this in the What Are the Odds chat shortly. But yeah, just wanted to quickly just go, yeah, we know this one's out. We'll just touch on it quickly and go, okay, yeah, it's a big thing. It's in America for now. We'll see what happens because that When We Were Young festival, I think there's talk of that one getting a bit more out there. So maybe, I don't know, but we'll get into it into the proper thing later on. But Dave, you and I come from two different sides of the coin when it comes to this era of music. I quite enjoy a lot of it, whereas you think it's like the worst time of music in history. So did any of this actually excite you at all?
69 Eyes and Cradle of Filth and Body Count maybe, but fuck. If you love the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, and you think it's fantastic, then you probably love this. I wanted to bury my head under a fucking rock in that era. After I discovered Dream Theater and Nightwish, so I could focus my attention overseas rather than mainstream metal, because it was fucking terrible. Not as bad as grunge. Certainly not as bad as grunge, but yeah, no.
Yeah.
It's a fucking great lineup if you like it, though.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I enjoy a lot of these bands. Like, there's a lot there for me to like. System of a Down being one. When we did the review a little while ago, and it's one of those bands where you either get it or you don't. Yeah, it's like the old Family Values tour on steroids. Like, anyone that remembers that era of the family. So it's just missing Limp Bizkit and Rammstein, I think, from the original. I think that might be it from the original Family Values tour. So I think the rest are on there. Is Korn was on there? I don't know if Korn were on there. Yeah, Korn are on there. So yeah, I think it's got everyone except for those two bands. So if you get, Limp Bizkit and Rammstein on there, it's the rerun of the Family Values with, a whole lot more. So, I'm not going to say every band's fantastic, but bands like Killing Joke, I'd go for that alone for me personally, but there's heaps there again on top of that. So I think if you're going to go, like, that's pretty good fucking value. So it's it makes Knotfest in Australia look really fucking tiny, which is unfortunately just the way it is. But no, it's a pretty spectacular lineup. And if you're, like Dave said, if you're a fan of this genre or the era, or you find anything in there, you're gonna enjoy a few bands on the line. There's heaps. Like, I barely scratched the surface when I was going through all the bands before. So yeah, have a look, and if you can, well, make a trip over to LA. It's May or something next year, I think it's from memory. I could be wrong on that one, but yeah, check it out. Have a look, see what you think. What do we got? Helen says, back to the phone. Your iPhone takes your face pic every 5 seconds as seen on an infrared camera. Okay, that's a new one. Didn't know that. I'm sure it does all sorts of stuff on there. I'm not really into the whole. I don't really worry too much about the phone things. I mean, if you want to worry about it, then don't have one. That's your only way around it. But again, you may as well go and be a hermit and live off grid completely, because that's your only way around it these days. So I don't know. I'm not planning to blow up the world, so I don't really care about it. I know when they're trying to sell me something, so it's like, okay, well, I just scroll past. It doesn't bother me too much. Jeff says Lacuna Coil would be nice to see. They would be nice to see. I agree with that. Vinny says, I'm a big fan of this kind of lineup. Plenty of eclectic sounds and many style choices. Chevelle are bloody underrated. They are very underrated. They are a good band. Here we go. Michael says, I'd go just for Cold Chamber. Jeff says, they're in Australia soon. Part of the Good Things Festival. Lacuna Coil. Yes, they are. That would be good too. Helen says that last guy about Sanny's track, I think, touch of Oil's vocal mixed with Weird Al Yankovic. Okay, that's an interesting comparison, but I kind of get it. That's cool. Darren says, how many awesome bands were influenced by Killing Joke? Too many to fucking count, I reckon. And Rowan says, I said Ginger have announced some sideshows as part of their Good Things tour as well. I'll put the link in the Discord. Awesome. Thank you very much for that. That would be very, very cool. They are ripping band. I haven't seen them live yet, but everything I've seen live footage wise and their music, insane. If you like the band, fuck, they're going to go off live. Alrighty, let's actually get into the news pieces for this week though. And Dave, let's go to your choice first.
Okay.
This was the Wasp oversold their Dallas concert or something, so I got shut down by the fire department. Is that?
Yeah. So apparently what happened is the capacity for the venue was 2,000, and they oversold it by almost 1,200 extra tickets. It makes me wonder, how does this happen in this day and age when we have online ticketing? And surely they must set on the site that the capacity is 2,000, and then that's it, sold out. When if you're 30 years ago and you're selling actual paper tickets, you can understand there might be a fuck up there. But apparently the band were told to leave because they couldn't guarantee their safety.
Yeah, that's.
And then there was an announcement made that everyone had to leave. Refunds will be issued, but you can issue a refund, but disappointment and travel expenses, parking, accommodation if you've flown in from another state. But apparently the promoter underestimated the value of Wasp. I don't know why you would be promoting a band if you didn't want them to. Like, that's just fucking stupid if you ask me. But they weren't expecting to get so many ticket sales, so I guess there was an oversight to not cap a limit on the tickets sold. But certainly showing that Wasp can certainly pull a crowd. And from what I've seen of video from their recent tours, they're sounding amazing. Blackie's vocals sound amazing, and they've brought Fuck Like a Beast back, which is awesome. But I think, I don't know, in this day and age, what promoter would be screwing something like this up? I feel sorry for the person who had to make this announcement and tell everybody to go home.
Yeah,
that would not be a fun job at all.
No,
it was interesting that something like this could occur.
It's almost like the opposite of Blind in Texas, like, which is funny because it's Dallas, Texas.
I want to go home.
There you go. I'm not getting on that horse.
Oh, fuck. They probably had a horse out back for Blackie to ride all the way home to California.
Look, it is an interesting little fuck up. Now, there's this whole tour apparently all came about because of basically fan power, according to Blackie Lawless. Put the word out saying, they were tired of getting lowballed by promoters, so they figured they'd just put the word out there and didn't think anything of it and just say, if you've got anyone that wants to make a serious offer, then, let us know. And apparently a bunch of people got involved and this is what happened. So apparently, for a band that was quote unquote being lowballed, they're now having to shut down a gig because it's oversold. It's not been rescheduled yet. It is an interesting one in this day and age to screw it up so badly by about 1,200 people is pretty full on. I mean, yeah, that's a lot. That's a huge amount. For a 2,000 cap venue, to oversell it by half a gain is pretty big. Apparently, everyone that bought tickets will be refunded in full, so that's a good thing about it all. But generally speaking, it's pretty bonkers to think that can still happen today. But hey, it is this day and age, so whatever. But I think it's kind of cool, and it adds, if anything, to a bit more of the mystique around the band. It's just one more of those things that just sort of, wherever this band goes, whatever they do, there's always a story attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
And this just seems to continue that on. So for the fan side of things, unless you were there at the night, for just from the outside looking in, it's a pretty cool story. And if you were there on the night, then it sucks. Yeah, that would be a shit way to fucking find out your party's just been ruined. But but at the same time, you get to tell the story later on, maybe. I don't know. But that interesting. It'll be interesting to see. They haven't rescheduled it yet or anything like that, but they said it will be back. But it just shows you there's still demand for this band that, some people may not think are as important as they used to be. But we're going to be doing a full dive on the discography in the coming weeks. So we'll see how popular that goes when we release it online as well. But yeah, that's something, very, very cool little pickup there, Dave. That's an interesting little tidbit of information that makes it interesting to see what happens. It makes you want to keep an eye on the tour. Does that make sense? It makes you want to see what happens next. So if nothing else, it's a good little bit of promo for the future dates. So well done all around in that
like
regard.
I said, the video of them playing, they sound amazing. Set lists are good too.
They are good. Fuck Like a Beast is back in there as well now in the live set. So from all reports, everything's good. There's no... It's not like the whole ones where they're just wheeling out the old donkey that's fucked and just sort of, here you go, mime a few things. They're actually giving it everything. So,
and Armored Saint with support. That'd be a cool doubleheader.
That would have been really cool. If they brought that here, I'd go in a heartbeat. That would be a fucking phenomenal night.
Holy shit.
I would go to that in a heartbeat. And I reckon a lot of people would too. What do we got? Helen says, Intel popularity for a second show? Possibly, but it does show you that they're a lot more popular than some people expected. Vinny's got the comment here. Smells like something Viagogo would do. Very true. Yeah, avoid Viagogo like the plague, folks. But yeah, that is an interesting one. What else we got here? So Rowan says, just purchased a ginger ticket. There we go. This will be my first live show since Motley Crue in '88. Wow. Okay.
Whoa.
Welcome back. You're going to get your head kicked in at that one. Like, in the best possible way. I mean, like, Ginger is a different band than Motley Crue. It's going to be fucking nuts. So enjoy. That's going to be a lot of fun. Enjoy it, man. I hope that gives you everything you want out of it. Alrighty. For my news choice this week, we've had kind of this conversation before, but it's actually funny to hear it coming from a more reputable source, quote unquote, I guess. Sean, the clown from Slipknot, has, now that Slipknot have finished their deal with Roadrunner and finalized everything and whatever else have you, they've decided that, well, haven't decided, but they're now under complete autonomy. So they don't have to do anything that anyone else wants them to do. They're under their own power, their own stand, which, they're a big enough band. They'll be able to do whatever they want at this point in time. But they've got no one pulling their strings. So Sean has come out and said that, he doesn't want Slipknot really to release full albums going forward. He wants to do things like release a single every month. So you're still getting the same volume of songs over a year. You're not losing anything in terms of overall volume in what you're getting as a fan kind of thing. But instead of doing a full album and, doing the whole build up, release a couple of singles, and then here's the album kind of thing, he just wants to go, here's this month's song kind of a process, which we've discussed in the past. I think there's a lot more merit to this idea than people want to give it credit for. But I think in this day and age, yes, you could release it at the end of the year as an album anyway for the physical collectors and all that kind of stuff. Around Christmas time, there's your Christmas thing, and there's your album, off you go. But in the digital world, releasing a new song more often than not is probably one of the better ways to make sure you completely stay as relevant as you can to your fan base. What do you think, Dave?
Yeah, I don't like it. Not me.
I know you don't like
but
it.
I'm old, so who knows? But I get the idea behind it, but song every month, it just becomes fast food. People easily consume a lot of shit these days. Music comes, music goes. There's so many other distractions. And if you miss a song one month, you're like, oh, cool, there's another one coming. It's oversaturated, and we're oversaturated with bands and content as it is. So one band releasing a song every month is just going to be, okay, when's the next one? You're going to be lost in the crowd of all the other bands doing the same thing. Whereas I reckon a lot of rock and metal fans still do prefer the long, full-length album. And people can tell me if I'm wrong or right, but downloading and streaming have been around for 20 years now. We're still having plenty of artists releasing full-length albums, and people love it. Still significantly good albums. Still a lot more, I think, in the last 2 or 3 years, we've had some fucking great full-length albums. But I would rather wait, honestly, 4 or 5 years for a good album to drop from a legendary band like Maiden or Metallica, and they release double albums, lots of content, and it's an event. Whereas, you have bands that release an album every 2 years or so, and I struggle to know what song is on what Megadeth album in the last 5 or 6 releases they've done, because there's so many. Just like, was that song on that one? Is that, where the fuck is it? Where Metallica dropped an album, it's like, cool, it's an event. So there is danger with oversaturating your audience. I think you'd be better off just releasing, as you've spoken about before, just getting to know the people in the bands. Just keep your content out there by doing video, talk to your audience, where when you release music, save it, make it an event, lead up to it. Like, I don't know, it's just the old school way of doing things.
Yeah.
Plus, Clown's one of the 3 unnecessary people of Slipknot anyway, so his opinion does come short.
You're gonna get flamed for that one. This is a hard one because I can see both sides of the argument. And if I was advising a young band, I'd be saying get as much out there as you can, as often as you can. For an older band that's been around for quite some time now, well, yeah, you can see the value and the bang for buck in making it the event style that you're talking about. It's hard. There's no right or wrong, I don't think. I think you could even do both if you were creative enough. Like, you could do things. I still think the idea we discussed before about having, behind the scenes chat, just releasing the riff. Just get not the whole song, but just get the riff as a 1 minute long video.
Metallica released the rehearsal, right?
Yeah. There's heaps you can do that doesn't have to be the whole song. You can tease the fuck out of it. And if you were doing that, then I think dropping the album once every whatever, that would work because you've always got stuff going on. If you're just a band that does music alone and doesn't do the social side of things, then I think releasing songs more often is better overall for your fan base because they're not getting any other engagement from you. It's about keeping your fan base locked in and engaged, whatever that is. I think that's the more important conversation overall to be had. I think you can release the album, the long form album. I just think you have to do a lot more work these days to make sure that your fan base is engaged because, like you said, everything just comes and goes so fast. Whereas if you're not keen to do the social stuff, then releasing songs more often is probably the only other thing you've got going for you. You can even do both, like in the context of bands always write more songs than they need for an album. So let's say, for example, because some bands write 30 songs for an album, some bands just do enough. But if you're one of those bands that writes 30 songs, you can release your album. And then for the year after or the 2 years afterward, those bonus tracks you didn't actually release as part of the album or ones that don't quite fit the album overall, those are the ones you release as just standalone singles for the next little bit to...
That makes sense. That's cool.
To keep things going. So there is ways to do this one. I don't know if you just write off the album completely. I don't think I agree with that per se, but I can understand why at the same time artists might be tempted to do so because it is more like the consumer market is much faster these days than it used to be. So it is one of those things where it's just an interesting little
thing in a way, because things have kind of come full circle from 50, 60 years ago. Because if you think of the early days of the Stones and the Beatles, a lot of their singles weren't even on albums. But they released singles because young kids didn't have the money to save up to buy an album. They just released the single. And even if the single was on the album, it was usually a different version. There's plenty of Hendrix singles that weren't the same take as what ended up on the album. So we've gone back to the single format. But yeah, I think in a great world we can have both. There's no reason why. And even if Slipknot do decide to do it, doesn't mean every other band's going to do it. It's not the death of the album. That's cool.
That's it.
Just a different way to do it.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of scope to, there's a lot of room to play. It doesn't have to be one or the other kind of proposition. I think whatever you want to do it. Just make sure you're doing stuff that engages the fan base. And that's where I think even what we talked about last week with, stepping in, a filling guitarist, as long as you've got the crew being a part of the videos, then you've got that scope there to play with. So I think there's plenty of room in this day and age to do. Everyone's got these things. You can do whatever you want on the phone. So we do this stuff now. We taught ourselves how to do this sort of stuff. Like there's heaps you can do. It's not hard. So anyway, we'll see what happens and see if they get around to releasing an album or if they're just going to go back to, or if they're going to revert to doing singles alone. But I don't know. Interesting little conversation point. It comes up pretty often, but it's just one of those things where it's just interesting from the outside looking into it. Because I actually like reviewing albums. There's, just on a side note here, I listened, because we're going to review Ironstone's new EP as part of our next Deep Cuts on the weekend. I don't know if you've listened to it all yet, Dave.
I haven't.
Yeah. Now, I gave it a listen today, and it's funny because there's two singles, I think, that I recognized that have been... I haven't done any notes or anything on this. This is off the cuff now. But I think there's two singles on this one that I recognized when listening to the EP, but they made more sense in the context of the EP than they did to me as standalone singles. So there is still something to be said for that alone, which happened to me today. So that's... just something that just popped in my head then we're talking about it too. There is a point to be made for songs making sense as an overall piece of work versus being just standalone things. But hey, we'll see what happens. Whatever they do, I'm sure it'll work anyway for them. They're a big enough band, like I said before, they can do whatever they want these days. It's not going to matter. So we'll see. Got some comments here. Jeff says, I thought Blackie was a born-again Christian, which is why I took Fuck Like a Beast out of the set list years ago. Guess Money Talks. He is still. He hasn't lost that, but he did make it. I think the feeling is this could well be sort of like the last hurrah, so they're not denying the fans, if that makes sense. That's the feeling I get. What about you, Dave?
Giving the fans what they want. Giving the fans what they want. I mean, same with Alice Cooper. He still does Bed of Nails, even though for a while he was a bit iffy about it, but, it's what the fans want. And your art isn't who you are necessarily.
That's true. Yeah.
And I think part of Blackie's concern was that, 13-year-olds might hear this song. I remember reading an interview with him. Okay. I don't think Wasp are in a position where they'll be getting 13-year-old bands now. So it's more
if
for
they do,
for
they're
the people that
by
already
their parents. Yeah, more than the band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So eventually the fans get what they want.
Yeah. Here we go. Michael's gone. Red Hook are a perfect example of a band releasing singles over full releases, and that's worked brilliantly for them. That strategy has worked wonderfully. And then when they do compile the EP, they did do it, and then they had an EP. I think the EP had one song that wasn't previously released as a single, so it made the EP kind of an event. It wasn't every month. They did them still pretty regular. It's like every 2 or 3 months. But for Red Hook, it has worked wonderfully well. So there is something to be said for it working for a band. It's put them right over the top. I think they're one of the few bands I've heard of having enough revenue out of the online stuff they do that it's paying for the band itself. Not paying for them to have a wage, but the band doesn't cost them anything, which is a remarkable feat in and of itself. And that's just for them releasing singles and that. So it does work. It does work. Ben says, I don't like it either, but I have no time for Slipknot anyway. So there we go. Darren says, nope, don't like it much. For full albums on CD or vinyl. We're getting probably a thing here. Nicole says, I prefer an album drop. Happy to wait for a full piece. Another one there. Bella says, I'm with Dave. Singles ahead of an album, but the album is like a reward for a waiting fan. Yes, very true. Good point. Vinny says, too episodic for my liking, too spaced apart for the continuity unless they release B-sides afterward. There we go as well. There,
Darren's tracks, demos, all that shit.
There's all that stuff too. There's heaps of extra stuff you can do. Darren says, I'm old school, love the full album package. Helen says, Slipknot is using an advertising campaign, eking out your bucks because you're still going to buy tracks and buy the album. It's a cock tease, which will pay off. Well, yeah, that's true as well. It is all a big marketing play these days. Jeff is asking, have you lads checked out the Daily Doug YouTube? Do a genuine reaction to the entire Operation Mindcrime. Great to see someone react arguably to one of the greatest metal albums of all time. Highly recommend. Haven't seen it. To be fair, I don't have a lot of time to sit down and watch. a lot of things. So I'm the wrong person to ask for that sort of stuff. But I'm happy to hear of other people enjoying that sort of stuff too. I reckon it's great to get more of it out there, as far as I'm concerned.
There's some cool videos. I'll watch a few of them. I might give that one a watch on Jeff's recommendation.
Okay, cool. Let me know how you go. If you do, then by all means, feel free to do something about it. React to a reaction.
I'll feel myself reacting to the reaction.
Well, Inception, this shit. Yeah, but anyway, break the internet. Rowan says, I've noticed that a lot of music producers are predominantly YouTube Patreon based, like Buried Alive from last week. Release songs as they finish them, put them on an album when they're enough. That's another good way to do it as well. It keeps the fan base engaged, or the locked in loyal fan base. Anyway, it gives them something for reward for effort. But Sally here, counterpoint. I'm into the idea. Clown is extremely creative and his mind moves very fast and he thrives on it. His mind is a lunatic fringe, and I can see this working well for Slipknot. So, there are things to this too, where it doesn't have to be that one song is a complete outlier. If it's just month to month or, bi-monthly or whatever the case may be, then if it's a different kind of a track, well, then it's just a different kind of track, because then the next one will come around pretty quick. Versus if you get the downside to the album thing is when the album comes out and it disappoints you. This might be a bit of an antidote to that, because the next song you'll always got the excitement coming up. So there is a bit of it's a small point to be made there as well. Yeah, I know people still prefer their albums, but it's just that there is a point there. Gears, join us again. Hello from Norway. Here is a new song from Viking Queen, Attitude. Hope everyone likes the song. Thank you. It's in the Facebook comments. Go and check it out if you're so kind. We'll do that as soon as we can, Gear, as well. So thank you for sharing that. There we go. Rowan says he's watched it, so there we go, Jeff. That's one for you. Darren says, but I don't watch reaction videos, so there you go. And Helen says this strategy worked for Radiohead. Yes, it does work for them too. So there we go. Alrighty. Where are we at? We're going to do some gig plugs now, aren't we? So quickly move to the gig plug segment of this whole thing here. So where I'm at here, I'm just going to put the 3 gigs into the comments now. They are in the description box as well. So I'm just going to put them into the comments, and then you can sort of go through and check them out at your leisure. Hang on. Before I do, Darren's gone, what if the first 2 songs suck? Well, then that's a problem as well. And Jeff says, Sally just reminded me of a great song from Red Rider, Lunatic Fringe. Thank you. Oh, there we go. And Vinny says, a bit like that band Reserve Bank that releases a new interest rate every month. I prefer the album. Give it to me all at once and be done with it. There is something to be said for that as well. So if it is bad news, you'd rather just rip the band-aid off, wouldn't you? Anywho, in the comments, in the description box, there's 3 links to 3 different gigs. I'm going to quickly rattle them off now, just to give them a bit of a plug here. So Thrash Fest is Saturday, December 10. We're sponsoring this event, so that's why you're going to get a plug every week from us with this one until it happens. So Saturday, December 10 is Thrash Fest at the Pelly Bar in Frankston. What do we got here? So Thrash Fest, the new wave of Australian thrash metal, brings together all metalheads alike who like their thrash metal in all its glory. This will be held at the Pelly Bar, 10th December 2022, celebrating Oz thrash metal. Exciting, huge lineup. Headliner will be none other than Harlot from Melbourne, who have toured extensively supporting major international metal bands locally and abroad. Mason from Melbourne join this year to remind everyone that they're still at the forefront. They're doing well at the moment too. Having toured extensively with Canada's Annihilator, locally, abroad, and lots more. You've got Pure Envy from Newcastle, a band we love here. You've got The Ascendant from Warrnambool, Encrypt from Melbourne, another band we love here. Dark Order out of Sydney, Thraxis out of Sydney, Livewire out of Sydney, Reaver from Sydney, Warrior Within from Queensland, Clarity of Chaos from Canberra, and Rawtism. Keith, we love your band. So there we go. Rawtism from Melbourne, they are on there as well. So that is an awesome lineup. They're going to pack out Pelly Bar. It's going to go fucking off in there. So that is Saturday, December 10 at the Pelly Bar. I think tickets are 30 odd bucks, $32.74 from Eventbrite, I think it is. Yeah, so check it out if that's your thing. There is a link in the comments, so go and hit that up now. Another one for you is the Shockwave album launch in Melbourne, which is from the mighty Dead City Ruins. Not Dead City. No, what am I doing? It is that band, isn't it? Fuck, I'm losing my mind now. It is Dead City Ruins. Fuck, sorry. One of those weeks, I just lost it there for a second. Apologies all. So Dead City Ruins are launching the new album Shockwave, which we did review for our last deep cuts, which I'll release probably on Friday night. Spoiler alert, we enjoyed it quite a lot. So these guys are phenomenal live. They always have been. So go and check them out. It's at the Corner Hotel, November 12. What do we got? Avalanche are there as well, I believe. I forget. Let's see more. There we go. We got The Myths, True Believer, and Avalanche as being support. Saturday, November 12th, Corner Hotel. Not sure on the cost of this one yet, but fuck, whatever it is, it'll be worth going. So get on down to see that one because these guys are doing really good things and they don't play as often as they used to. So make sure you get on to seeing Dead Sea Ruins when you can. And like I said before, the album Shockwave, absolute ripper. Dave and I both loved it. So spoiler alert for this sort of Friday, Saturday when the next sort of video comes out. So go and check that out as well. And final gig plug is one from a good friend of ours in Dave. He's found this event and invited me to it, which is called Make Music Not War. Central Club Hotel. And what do we got here? So we got the zombie apocalypse meant that Crazy Dave couldn't organize his 50th, 37th birthday bash in 2021. But fear not, a dose of spicy cough, end of the world toilet paper crisis, or onset of the zombie apocalypse is not enough to stop Aussie rock. Aussie rock is resilient. 8 of Australia's best acts are coming together on November 19th, and it's going to be one hell of a party. Central Club Hotel, 293 Swan Street, Richmond, in Victoria, is the place to be, and all profits from the night will be donated to the Red Cross Australia Ukraine Crisis Appeal. Book online for $20 or $25 at the door. Guaranteed to blow your socks off. You got Sunny Jim from Newcastle, After School Care, Wicked Things from Sydney, Radio Rejects from Wollongong, The Dark Clouds from Wollongong, The Credits, Dubro, and The Strip are going, and The Strip just dropped a new album as well, are going to blow the roof off the Central Club Hotel and show the world that music, not war, is the answer. Getting quick, this will sell out. Let's get this party started. So there you go. There is another gig to plug for everyone there as well. That is November 19 at the Central Club Hotel. So get on it. There's plenty there to check out. What do we got here? Back to the comments here. Sally's gone, yes, Lunatic Fringe is a cool song. Corey Taylor did a cover of it very recently. Man, not so good for me. Fucking love Corey, but I'm a pass on that cover. There we go. And Sally is a huge Corey Taylor fan. Helen says, yep, Dead Sea Ruins at the corner. Close mates of mine. They are good people too. Very good people. Jeff says, here's a laugh. I'd forgotten that I bought a ticket to see Guns N' Roses back in 2019 or 2020. I'm not sure if I can go now. I may have a ticket up for grabs for the December 3rd show. So there we go. Wow. All happening. Yeah, get in touch with Jeff if you want to look up that one. All righty. We're a day earlier this week, but there is a bunch of releases coming up on Friday. So, Dave, what releases are you looking forward to this week?
Yeah, so Epica have an EP coming out, and Epica are always good, so definitely keen for that one. Don't know much about Enough's Enough, even though I'm going to go see them at Glamfest, but certainly not going for them. But the last album we reviewed was a Beatles cover album, and it was fucking terrible. So I'm really hoping they redeem themselves. I'll give it a go. If not, strike 2, you're out. Forget about this strike 3 bullshit. A few reissues and deluxe editions. Obviously, Use Your Illusion 1 and 2. Stoked for that. I'll give that a listen for the live shows more than anything else. Mammoth, Wolfgang Van Halen has a deluxe edition. So I'm interested to see what extras are on there. So that'd be cool.
There are some new songs, and one of them is really bloody cool, man.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Powerwolf have a anniversary edition. A lot of anniversaries in time. And Last in Line are dropping an EP. So that could be cool.
We crossed over on a lot of these ones. My first note here was the Black Dahlia Murder have a Yule 'em All, a holiday variety extravaganza. So hearing the Black Dahlia Murder take on some Christmas stuff is, I'm not strictly a huge fan, but I want to hear it. I just want to hear it.
It's going to be an eye-opener, I think.
Yeah, so I just want to hear it. It'll be interesting to see how that goes. But also got, Enough's Enough. They're releasing a new album, Finer Than Sin. Epica have the Alchemy Project EP coming out. Last in Line, they got another EP as well called A Day in the Life. TC is banging on about this band Leatherwolf. It has been for quite some time. They're dropping their new album, Kill the Hunted. So, because TC's been banging on about it, I want to go and check that out as well. Like you said before, Mammoth WH got a deluxe edition coming out of their self-titled album, and that does contain new music, and some of that is awesome from what I've heard, or I have heard some tracks, and they're bloody brilliant. Monster Magnet, they're an interesting band. They've got a new album, Test Patterns Volume 1, coming out. I'm not sure if it's a compilation or a brand new album, but either way, something to check out. And also Walkings, they're a band that I've checked out some of their stuff. It's not bad, but I just want to see how much of it's gimmick and how much of it's sort of talent kind of thing. So it's one of those curiosity pieces. Like, I'm going to go and check this out just for a bit of fun. But there is a lot coming out this Friday. So even if none of that gets your attention, there's a lot. So get ready because Friday is going to be fucking bonkers when it comes to releases. Here we go. Helen says, no, Alex from Enough's Enough, not vaguely metal. No, not really. TC says, hi guys. Yes, Leatherwolf. Yes, I figured I'd give that one a shout out for you. There we go. And Darren says, Last in Line are fantastic. Vivian Campbell kills you. Everything I've heard from them has been good so far. And Sally says, Mammoth, oh yeah, want to hear anything from Wolf. That if you haven't checked out that album, this is a good chance. It's a fucking phenomenal release. One of the albums of the year. That was fucking phenomenal. Alrighty. Let's move on. Let's play What Are the Odds this week. Going to play that. That's our game for this week. So we got 3 topics here. We're going to give our sort of, is it 50-50? Is it 70-30 against or 70-34 or whatever you think it might be? What are the odds of, we covered it off before, but Dave, what do you think the odds are of Sick New World Festival coming to Australia anytime soon?
I reckon 90% against in its current format. I reckon you might get a smaller version. Like Download was a smaller version of what UK got. So you might get a smaller version, but in its current massive capacity, I don't think Australia could host that.
Yeah. In its current form, in that lineup we announced for Los Angeles, I think it's Los Angeles or whatever it is, for Vegas maybe, whatever that is, 0. That ain't happening. That's not coming to Australia, ever. I think I'd give a watered-down version of it, about 30% at this point in time. I think it depends on how well Good Things goes, and if that goes off, then maybe. But now you got Knotfest, so now how cramped do you want to make a big festival market out here in such a short time? So we'll see. But yeah, I'd put maybe 25-30% on a watered-down version, 0 on that current lineup. That ain't coming here anytime soon. All right. From that, we're going to really head over to them because we've touched on this before. The Ozfest Metaverse show. The odds of that running smoothly, Dave, what do you put that at?
I reckon about 85% that it will.
Yeah.
Because as soon as Motorhead was announced on that, obviously it's going to be pre-taped. Aussie ain't doing the full set. That's going to be pre-taped too. So I'm willing to bet the entire thing is pre-taped. They probably just got footage from a previous Ozfest, digitized it, done whatever the metaverse magic is going to be, and the whole thing is going to be played, performed, streamed, or VR'd. Or you don't need the VR headset to consume it.
Yeah.
But however they're going to spice it up, it's all pre-taped. So they just have to press play and send it out. So it's going to be free, apart from the server crashing, because everyone's going to jump on at the same time. Who knows what technology they have to support the influx. But we'll wait and see. But yeah, I think it's got a pretty good chance of going okay.
I was sitting on about 50-50 before you brought that up. So I'll go to about 70%. It will go smoothly now. I still want to leave myself a bit of room for shit to go wrong. But yeah, I think it is much more likely the whole thing is pre-recorded. Even if it's just Ozzy Osbourne and co. They've done it just on a soundstage somewhere, just on a set and filmed it. And it could be a brand new set that's never been seen before. No one knows what it is. No one's seen it. It's just been the crew and the band know about it. But I don't see Ozzy Osbourne interacting with comments the way we are on StreamYard here. I just not without going, Sharon, the remote's not working.
Sharon, there's some guy on the TV that looks like me.
Yeah. So I don't think that there'll be any way to tell because of that. There won't be any sort of dynamic interaction happening. So if there's no way to tell, it'll be pre-recorded, which improves the odds of running smoothly. So yeah, short of things crashing and going wrong, which I don't think that'll happen. Then yeah, I'd put it about 70%. I want to give myself some margin there for shit to go completely pear-shaped because it's got that feel that it could go horribly, horribly wrong. All right. Last one. What are the odds? I found an article on this one which makes me more confident than not about this one. But Judas Priest have been working on a new album. We were hoping for it this year. That's not going to happen now, obviously. That's way too far along the year for it to come out now. But the odds of Judas Priest's new album in 2023. Dave, what do you think?
Yeah, signs are good. They've been working on it. They're just going to finish it up. 100%. I'm an optimist. Give me more Priest. Fire Power was fucking brilliant. So yeah, bring it on.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm going to go 100% on this one. It's up to actually Halford to do the vocals. Apparently, everything else is done. Song's written. He's just got to sit down, do the vocals, and then the album is ready to finish mixing and send it off. So I think they'll find a time somewhere for it to come out. Now, they have said that it's not going to be Firepower Mark II, which, is may or may not please people. But at the same time, fuck, I'm just happy to have more Priest. So yeah, I'm going to say with you 100% 2023 new Priest album coming out. Pretty bloody confident of that one myself as well. All right, got some comments on these, which is good. So yeah, Helen said Mammoth truly is great. Yes, Darren says no chance in hell when it comes to the to the Sick New World. 1 in 99 again. Small chance of Delta Goodrum covering Iron Maiden.
Oh,
So there we
go.
It probably is actually. Ben says, Dave not drinking tonight. Dave, you aren't drinking that much at the moment. Do you want to tell people why?
I'm broke. That's the sad part of it. But yeah, with the cost of living, school fees, Christmas coming up, fucking mortgages going up. Yeah, I'm being very tight with the money. And drinking is a want, not a need. I like it, but I'm going dry for a little while, just until Christmas. Then I'm going to drink myself stupid over the fucking Christmas and New Year holiday.
That's what happens.
Oh, I'm catching up to this.
Yep. Don't worry, I'm still drinking. I always do. Helen says, P.S. Everyone should go check out, go see the Myths around town. Bloody Stellar Sheilas. All right, I have to go and check them out too. Okay. Darren says 100% on New Priest album next year. I think everyone's pretty confident of that one as well. All right. Let's get to the main event before we get to our little classic album review afterward. And I think this is going to be a pretty one-sided affair, but we'll see how we go. This week's King of the Riff Battle of the 50-Year-Old Albums, round 3 is Deep Purple Made in Japan, which was the number 3 seed in this little contest, versus Blue Oyster Cult's self-titled debut album, which was the number 6 seed in this contest. So it's number 3 versus number 6. In the audience polling, it was a fucking landslide, an absolute landslide. I think across all the different platforms, across Facebook, Instagram, including the Facebook Lounge, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, I think across all of them. I think I've got maybe 1 or 2 comments in support of Blue Oyster Cult. Everyone else is overwhelmingly in favor of Made in Japan. Dave, are you agreeing with the audience?
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely Made in Japan. You know, some of these albums are really one-sided. These battles are really one-sided.
Yeah, that'll change.
It's not just that they're the better album, but it's because I've grown up with a lot of these albums, and the one it's against, I haven't heard until this week. So I do like Blue Oyster Cult. I haven't dug that far into their discography, so it was a good listen. I was enjoying it for the most part, and then they have a really, really strange song called "She's as Beautiful as a Foot." And what the fuck? And then there's a line in that song, "Don't put your tongue on the bloody tooth mark place." And I'm like, dude, stayed off the fucking acid. Jesus Christ. I've heard some fucked up lyrics in my day, but what the hell does that mean? She's as beautiful as a foot. What feet are you people seeing? Jesus
I don't know. Don't remember the Fergie photo from all those years ago.
It reminded me of that old Eddie Murphy movie, Boomerang, where he's like looking for perfection. And he sees she's got some fucked up toenail or something. He's telling his mate, he goes, "So what? You don't fuck her feet." So there's a whole world of foot fetishes out there, and apparently Blue Oyster Cult are part of that. So
don't know.
Weird shit happening. But as far as Made in Japan goes, fucking brilliant live performance, greatly captured. Everyone in that band was on that night. It's a special document. Songs are better than the album versions. I can easily say that. It's a greatest hits package, but it's a great live performance. It shows what the band could do. They had this connection on stage. This extended songs are longer, great jams in between, extended solos. Just an amazing, amazing listen from start to finish. So yeah, definite landslide. Has to be Made in Japan.
Yeah. I'm going to agree, but I have a few thoughts I want to share. Like Deep Purple's Made in Japan is one hell of a fucking live album. We're lucky to have this, as the band didn't even really care about it to begin with. It was mostly meant to be just like a purely in Japan promo kind of thing. So in terms, getting really lucky with it as a fan to get something, this is one of those ones. This is just a live band, a really real live, genuine live band that is a jam band at the same time, at the peak of their powers on this record. As far as live albums go, this is right up there. And that could be an interesting little battle like this. We could do like the best live albums. We could do one of those somewhere next year, maybe.
That'd be fun.
Interesting little round robin competition there. That'd be interesting. But yeah, there's this one. The only downside on this album, particularly, because I listen to these ones sort of before we go and do these, I listen to both albums back to back to each other, sort of for the 3 days leading up to this one. So once a day, I'll listen to them both. And the Made in Japan one, I find myself, I know, like when you put it on the first or second time, it's awesome, and the live jammed out moments really do hold up well. But then you get to the next one, it's like, just give me the meat kind of thing. I'm not like, I don't need a 5-minute drum solo kind of at that point in time. But that's me. I've always been a bit of a sort of hit and miss on that regard. But that said, and this is meant to be an absolute compliment, that this album is almost like the perfect background music album. I think that's an absolute compliment, because it's hard. because you can put this on in the background anywhere, any environment, and it's going to go well. Does that make sense? It could be family dinner, it can be a party, it can be whatever, or he's doing housework. There's enough in this for it to be the perfect background kind of album. But again, when you want to focus on it, there's plenty to focus on as well. I think this is aside from my little, on repeat listens, maybe a bit harsh, but fuck, this is a really fucking standout album. It's pretty special, hard to deny. When it comes to Blue Oyster Cult, got a lot of respect for them. Everything I've heard from them, I've enjoyed over the years. And I love that they're still going strong. Same with both bands, actually. They're both going really strong. Their last few albums have been absolutely spectacular. So it's hard to knock anything the Blue Oyster Cult do. It's just one of those things when they're coming up against a fucking monster record. There are some really good live... Yeah, there are some odd ones on this one, like Dave found, but there are some great tracks, and there's still like Cities on a Flame with Rock and Roll and Stairway to the Stars were probably my two standout tracks on that particular album. But it's a really fine record top to bottom, especially as far as debut albums go as well. It holds up really well today. But again, it's up against it. It's up against, one of the greatest live albums ever recorded. So, the other footnote, for lack of a better term, when it comes to this album is that, there are some songs, like, even though I love Cities on a Flame with Rock and Roll, the riffing and the guitar work and the feel of it reminded me a lot of Black Sabbath. So it's kind of like that sort of is points against, because you're looking for something a bit different, which is where this live album does stand out above the rest. But that said, this isn't as cut and dry as it should be for me. It is one-sided, don't get me wrong. There's a clear winner in this one. But I went into this whole thing thinking that the Made in Japan would basically be up against Machine Head at the end of this process. It'd be down to those two albums, and that's the end of it. I'm not as sure that's going to happen this time around after listening to it. Like, I like the album a lot, but does it have the staying power to beat other albums in this one for the duration of the course it's got to go through, including what we're going to talk about next week, which is Black Sabbath Volume 4. So that's, you know what I mean? It'll probably come up against that at some point in theory. So, does it have the juice to beat out those albums? I'm not convinced of that, but that's why it's not quite as cut and dry as it could be in this context, because it's made me go, I was sitting on that going, that'd be like the number 1 or 2 spot kind of in this album. But now it's like, maybe it won't be. We'll see. But yeah, this is a very good little battle, but it is one-sided at the end of the day. So yeah, Deep Purple Made in Japan wins this round pretty comfortably, unfortunately. But it is just the way it is, and we're getting those ones. There are some going to be lopsided to get the early rounds out of the way, and then as we go through things, it'll be interesting to see how it goes along, because it's going to get tougher from this point out. What have we got here? So comments, go back to the comments for a second here, because we'll get a few of these now. Jeff says, what do you think the chances of KK return to the fold at some point in the future after the success of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame show? Looked and sounded great. That's something I would love to see. I'd probably go 40%. What about you, Dave?
Yeah, lower side of it, but it'd be cool to see maybe for 1 or 2. Might get Dolly Parton up there too. Yeah.
I wouldn't be opposed. Look, I think it's something they'll wheel out now and then. I don't think we'll see him return as a full-time member. I think maybe a little too much damage done at this point in time. Maybe, I'm not saying never, but with the lineup as it is, they're pretty solid. So I don't think if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of thing. And when KK sort of left and kicked up a fuss,
the band moved on. They're in a good place.
Yep. Nick says, I can see it working, going back to the Ozfest thing. I can see it working, being somewhat interactive with avatars and chat. However, watching a pre-recorded video in VR, but in no way where it will be in a few years' time. Yeah, so we're at the very beginning phases of this thing now. So I think that down the line, what we do here will become a full-on 3D scape, and bands can do all sorts of stuff. You can do live Q&As with VR sessions. You can do all sorts of shit. We're not there yet, but there's so much scope for this in the future. And yeah, it'll work for now. It'll get through, and they'll learn. And the more these things happen every year, the more it'll get better. What do you think, Dave?
Yeah, got to start somewhere. There'll be teething problems, but, it's going to happen. It's inevitable.
David is here saying, "G'day, fellas. Surprised me you're on. I'm half cut. All the best legends. Deep Purple."
Cheers, mate.
Glad to have you with us. We're doing a sneaky Wednesday session this week, not a Thursday. We had to change things up this week, but we're back to normal next week. So that'll be your Thursday.
Is that Deep Purple forever or DP forever? Double pen.
Oh my God. I think for the guy on water, you're sounding like you're half cut yourself. Now into the comments here. So Nicole says Deep Purple all the way. Ben says Blue Oyster Cult is superb, but Deep Purple a little better. Vinny says OnlyFans for fetish prophecy, perhaps. So there we go with the foot stuff there. David says, I went to Machine Head, the Deep Purple show here at the Gov in Adelaide. Great band, done made in Japan to a T. All right, cool. There we go. Yeah, this is the same argument. Darren says, unfortunately for Blue Oyster Cult, it's up against one of the best live albums ever. That's what it is. Jeff says, made in Japan inspired Made in Japan. Well, that's true as well.
Yep.
Bell says, any album that has Ian Gillan singing Child in Time gets my vote. That is hard to beat. So good point there. Helen says, first album, Machine Head studio album in Stella and Highway Star still has merit. Took it to the class, music class in 73. Purse lifts from the teacher, so it's purple. Yes, that would have been an awesome little bit in time to I didn't get to do that, obviously, but that would have been fucking cool to go through because I did have some interesting interactions. Another story for another time, but doing my degree, music interactions was interesting because my taste was different to everyone else's, so it was a bit of fun. David's asked, did the Blue Oyster Cult have any cowbell? Not on this one. There was no cowbell. No. So
too much acid.
Vinny says, I'm already voting for Black Sabbath Volume 4, so there we go. Yeah. That's already up there. Basher says, Deep Purple made in Japan, an amazing album, one of the best albums ever. Great songs, Highway Star, Lazy, Strange Kind of Woman, Half of Space Truckin', Child in Time and Smoke, and the CD has bonus tracks in Black Knight. Blue Oyster Cult, respect as well. My favorite album, Fire of Unknown Origin. Yeah, they've got some good stuff. Sally says, I'm glad you said that. I listened to it twice today because of the review, but the drum solo, done with it. I was grinding my teeth by Nivet and the vocal guitar impersonations irritating. Yeah, it's good on like a pass, but just, yeah, it can be annoying at times. I know that's going to be sacrilege to a lot of people there, but I agree. Darren says, on the Priest thing, will all depend on Halford. That is a fair possibility as well. Helen says, Dave, I'm happy to donate a 6-pack of grog to your joint, so I'll let you and Helen work that one out. Yeah. Nick says DVDA forever. DVDA. Why am I missing something here? I feel like I'm missing something. Enlighten me, please. I feel like I'm missing something, Nick. I apologize. Mine is not where it needs to be to pick up on that one, unfortunately. All right. So next round, next week is, where did I put it? I wrote it down here before. I know I did. Black Sabbath Volume 4. Versus Scorpions, Lonesome Crow. So it's the 2nd seed versus the 7th seed in this one. We'll see if that's going to be a landslide as well, but that is what's coming up next week on Thursday night. It's Black Sabbath Volume 4 versus Scorpions, Lonesome Crow. So get yourself ready for that little one there. All righty. Helen says damn delivers. So there we go. Get yourself a damn.
I just Googled that DVDA. I'll shut up.
All right, well, I'll leave that to you. I'm going to move on because we have one review to get through tonight. That's the Patreon choice classic album review. In the comments, in the description box, you get a reference track as always. So this is King Diamond with the track The Family Ghost. That is your reference track for this one tonight because it comes from the classic album Abigail from the mighty King Diamond, which is 10 tracks, 45 minutes a second. The studio album of the Danish band, released June 1987 by Roadrunner Records, produced by King Diamond himself at Soundtrack Studio in Copenhagen. The first concept album from this band, the story focuses on a young couple moving into a haunted mansion, bringing about the rebirth of a stillborn child from centuries past. Widely regarded as not only one of this band's best releases, but also one of the best of the era. There's had a few re-releases over the years with some extra tracks tacked on, but this would be the band's last with guitarist Michael Denner and bassist Timmy Hansen on this one. And Dave, we've done this one before. I think you've done it as well. So we've done this before. How did you go this time around?
I love this album. So good. Yeah. And if you're a fan of 80s horror, if you're a fan of 80s heavy metal, guarantee you know who King Diamond is and you're all over this album. If you're a fan of 80s horror movies and a heavy metal fan, you're going to fucking love this.
Yep.
Now, if you're a fan of 80s heavy metal and you like horror movies and you haven't heard this, I don't know what the fuck you've been doing with your life. Okay? You need to get on this if you haven't heard it. The concept album about possession, executed brilliantly in terms of writing, performances, and production. Great riffs, solos, melodies, interesting song structures, and there's a few surprises as well. You get a few prog elements here and there. The sudden shifts and the what the drums are doing under some of the solos. It's not exactly just straight accompanied. The drums are doing their own solo at the same time sometimes. Guitar tone's fucking amazing. The guitar solos, everything is really well thought out. There was a lot of attention to detail when they were putting this together. Every note is there for a reason. It's all there to set a mood. It's all fit into the storyline. And the sudden shifts in tempo, just the mood shifts perfectly. It's like a jump scare in a horror movie.
Yep.
For some people, King Diamond's vocals are a bit of an acquired taste.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's certainly unique. There's a lot of people do falsetto. Nobody does it like him. But I like how he uses his style to convey the characters and the drama. And that falsetto is truly amazing, but he can shift from a spoken growl to that falsetto just like that. I've never been able to see him live, but that would be certainly one for the bucket list. I would love to see him perform.
The vocal gymnastics alone make that worthwhile.
It really would be. Just how do you switch so quickly and cleanly from one to the other? That's what talent is, people.
Yes.
And I like the acoustic moment at the start of the Black Horseman at the end. That's a nice touch. It indicates we're approaching kind of the end territory, and then there's that little acoustic solo over that, and that was really the cool part. It's kind of quiet before the storm. It's about about halfway from about Family Goes to Abigail. The whole thing's fucking great, but they really kick it into like second gear. If I just can only listen to part of this album, because Family Goes 7th Day is July 77, Omens and Abigail. That little section of the album is fucking brilliant. It's all-time classic, perfect 80s heavy metal. This doesn't sound dated or cheesy. It's aged really, really well. And it was back in the time where music like this really did shock people. It really scared the hell out of people, or it really entertained you. It was back in a great time where all this was new and fresh. And I would give this 10 out of 10, but I think giving it 18 will become 9 out of 10. Sounds good. But 10 out's the whole fucking thing for you.
Well done. Very nice little trick there at the end there. I know we did this in 2016 as part of our Halloween special that year. I don't know if we've done it since then, no. I think, was that the last time we touched on this particular album, Dave? Do you think?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. I know we did a couple of Halloween, like a couple of Diamond albums here, but I thought the last time we did this one was actually at the old studio. So I think we did, there's part 1 and 2, the other albums after this one. This is fucking phenomenal. Now, it is funny that you mentioned the vocals can be an acquired taste. It's funny because we were talking about way back when we had the old studio doing a King Diamond special when it was sort of Jimmy, Dennis, you and me in the crew back. I remember that. And Jimmy was just flat out against it. He couldn't handle the vocals. He wouldn't do it. So, it is an acquired taste. So I fully appreciate that some people, it's not going to be for everyone. But if you can get past that, or if you enjoy it and you haven't checked this out yet, you got to unfuck that. This is phenomenal. The story on this is just brilliant. And when it comes to a concept album, I grade the story itself so harshly because, Dave, you know me, I love really long-winded fantasy stories and sci-fi stories. I love reading. When I'm not listening to music, I'm reading. That's what I do with whatever spare time I've got. And so it's got to be a good story to hold my attention if it's going to be, quote unquote, a concept album. And if you go through my choices over the years when it comes to concept albums that stood out, it's always because it's got a fantastic story. This one's timeless. This has all the hallmarks of the 80s that you want, but it's so fresh today still. I mean, it's had a remaster and all that kind of stuff over the years, but just even the story, the narrative, the way it's executed from top to bottom, the performances are brilliant on this one. You mentioned things like the guitar tones and that, but I would sit here and say that the mix overall is phenomenal. King Diamond, with Mickey D helping him, has done a phenomenal job on this one. But what I loved was the vocal harmonies on this one and just how things got to push and pull. The use of reverb and panning to really set the tone. The way the atmosphere comes through in the listen of this one. So, this had the full-on movie score soundtrack effect where the music shifts when the bad thing's about to happen, and then you got the happy part, and it all is so clear. Just if you don't understand a word, the vibe, the feeling, the emotive context of the song is clear, and it's not tacky. It's well done. But like you said, around that, you've got all this metal chops going off. You've got fucking guitar 3 and for days. Forget about it. There's so much guitar and it's not funny. The drumming is off the wall. The bass player does the same thing as everyone else. It's phenomenal. And then you got the vocals over the top of all this fucking madness. And it's just a beautiful thing to see it done so well. It's actually incredibly hard to pull something like this off. Like, just to make it sound good, to not make it tacky, to not make it passé, to not make it just sound like a hot mess. They've done incredibly well to just do it so smoothly, and it's held up so many years later. Is just a fantastic thing. Everyone and everything gets their time to shine on this one. Like I said, the production is just phenomenal for the years. Like the acoustic moment, what I love about how you've got so much punch in this, but you mentioned the acoustic moment in the 7th day of July, 1777. And that shows you just how much depth there is to the overall tone and space in this one. It's all like, because nothing shifted. Like, it does have push and pull, but nothing fundamentally changed when the acoustic guitar came in. It's still around that because the guitar riff comes in right afterward. And there wasn't like this big shift or jump. It just fit. And it was so like, and that's like the last thing you expect to hear on this thing is a neat, nice, well presented acoustic moment, and it just fits in like that. It's like a hand in a glove. It's perfect. Like I said, even if the vocals do nothing for you, the solos on this are worth the price of entry alone. This thing, if you like guitar, you just got to check out this album. Yeah, you can't fault this. It's very hard to fault this. The execution on this just makes it worth checking out alone. Even if you're not a fan of this band or a fan of this style, this is almost a required listening kind of an album because it's so well done. Even if you don't like it, you will learn something listening to this one about how a concept album should be done, especially when you get so many that they try to play in the dark side of things, or, there's an evil story or whatever else, or, I don't know. Concept albums aren't by nature overly happy, not in the rock and metal world anyway. Yeah. And there's something about it where it can just come off fucking naff. It just doesn't work. Whereas this one, it worked brilliantly. Like, I would hold this up. I raved about Airy on the Source a few years ago. I would hold these two albums up as like two quintessential albums to listen to if you want to hear how a concept album is done well. Because the mood, the flow, the emotions, how you said King Diamond does all the different vocal performances, the different characters and different vocal tones and that. Like, you've got everything in this one, from the ghosts to the female characters, the male characters, even to the ghostly child. It's all there. And it's so well done. It's brilliantly haunting. It's impressive. The only reason I can't give it a perfect mark is because, when it comes to things like The Source from Aaron, I can imagine anyone listening to that one. I can't say the same thing for this one. That's the only critique. It's not about execution or anything like that. It's just that it won't win as many people over. But for all of that said, there's the tiniest mark off. So I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10. A Mansion in Darkness, The Possession, and The Family Ghost are my standouts, but I also really enjoyed all of it, to be honest. But yeah, the Black Horseman one at the end there is great. And also the bonus track, I didn't go with the rough mixes, but the bonus track Shrine on the latest edition of this one, that's I don't know why that didn't make the cut in the first time. That's a really good addition to this album. So it should have been on there as far as I was concerned, but it fits, and it fits bloody well. And if you like this one, there's more to come after this one as well. This is a phenomenal album, a phenomenal career. We should do a deep dive one day. We will, but yeah, this is one of the best ones out there. When it comes to concept albums alone, this is phenomenal.
To do a battle of concept albums, that'd be fucking
painful. Ooh, battle of concept albums. That would be what you'd have. Mind Crime,
The Wall.
This.
Scenes from a Memory, Crimson Idol, Welcome to My Nightmare.
Yeah. I would want to put Arian on there just to see how a modern one would go as well.
That's a lot.
There's a lot. That would be one to do. So we've got live albums, concept albums. We've got a whole lot of themes for these little battles coming up. There's a lot. There's a lot to go through next year. We are on the home stretch now for this year, though. But yeah, that's what we loved. And so if you want to get involved in choosing these ones every week, we try to, but most weeks hasn't been that good of late, but I am getting better on it. There is a Patreon update coming soon for those that are on the Patreon page, just on what we're going to do, finalising the voting for this year. So these classic elements for these live streams are decided by our Patreon crowd. So join the Patreon, whatever tier you choose to do so, and you'll get in there for even just a couple of bucks a month just to help us out here at the show. Back to comments for a second. Darren says, this is one awesome concept album, eerie, creepy, atmospheric album, which rocks. I love it, which is, echo that all along. Nicole says, love these guys. Amazing all the way. We're going to get a lot of love for this one, I think. Vinny says, King Diamond while knocking back packets of Whiz Fizz back in the day. Good times. Helen says, I'm not too sure a class. This is heavy metal, Dave. I would.
Yeah, absolutely. This is metal.
Yeah. Bell says, King Diamond's Abigail, spooky as fuck intro, then song after song of great riffs, cool solos, and an awesome drumming. King Diamond is a superb storyteller, and his vocal delivery is so expressive. I love the well-placed acoustic moments. Downside, when I listen to this on headphones, I want to crank it, but can't because then he sings those high notes and it hurts my brain. That is an issue.
Yeah, I get that. Felt that today.
Yes.
But haven't made it into a movie.
I want them to. It'd be so good, wouldn't it?
It'd be original. I mean, they've done millions of fucking ghost story, possession stories. Not like this. Not with this story. So detailed and intricate.
That's the thing. You could see it being done. A 90 to 100-minute movie would be easy with this content. It's all there.
Yeah.
It's all there. And it would probably kick the crap out of most things being released under the horror banner these days anyway, to be blunt. I mean, you follow that more than I do. I don't watch anything you do. But
there's some fucking sick ideas in the story. It'd be great.
Yeah. Dave's there for the ghost eating the carcass of itself later on.
That's what we need.
Rowan says, I came to this completely fresh this week. Your mum tried to warn me on Discord about the vocals, but I still didn't think she prepared me well enough. Gave it 3 listens, but at no point did it click. And that is the thing. Some people it just won't click for, which is unfortunate, but I did enjoy this a lot myself personally. David says, King Diamond, definitely 80s. I see Randy Rhoads and Ingve there. Yeah, you could imagine those there for sure. Nick says, one of those albums you have to listen back to front. Metal Magic, 10 out of 10. There we go. Nicole says, very theatrical, which we've got there as well. Jeff says, Abigail is up there. Nobody does atmosphere like King Diamond. He is the John Carpenter of heavy metal. That is a quote to the bank. Well done. I like that one a lot. And Darren says, bucket list band for me along with Merciful Fate. Yes, agree with both of those completely. But that does us for tonight. So we'll do a bit of a wrap up here and do the usual things. But a special thank you to our fantastic Patreon supporters in TC, Sonia, Lee, Bell, Conrad, Jeff, Jason, Brendan, 16x9, Marty, Sam, Trash, Carolyn, Gwyneth, Andrew, Daniel, Manfamily, Adam, Darren, and Vinny. Thank you so much for your fantastic support. We do appreciate it. I do appreciate your patience extra so over the last few little bits there because I've just been swamped with trying to get everything done over the last little bit. But there is more to come on that front very, very soon. So thank you, everyone, for your support and patience over there. Do greatly appreciate it. If you want to help us out on that platform, then do so. Check out everything you need to know, and that is in our description box, along with all of our links and also the links to our fantastic sponsors. So a big thank you to Squid Ink Screenprinting, Alt-Cvlt Rockstar Finance. Like I was saying, give them a like or a follow. Helps us, helps them, shares the love around. And any details you want for them or for us in the description box. So make sure you like, follow, subscribe to all the usual things that everyone gets you to do. Make sure you check us out on TV. So Thursday nights, 10:30 p.m. on Channel 44 in Adelaide local time and 10:30 p.m. Saturday nights on Channel 31 in Melbourne local time. You can watch those on your TV screens or via the CTV Plus app or via ctvplus.org.au at the same time, like a simulcast thing there. So Thursday nights in Adelaide, Saturday nights in Melbourne. What have we got? Our next deep cast we're going to film. We filmed a bunch. Well, we had, what did we do last Sunday, Dave? We did Dead Sea Ruins.
Varian.
I'll be able to tell you, actually.
Yeah,
I'll tell you. We did Dead Sea Ruins, Five Finger Death Punch, Orianthe, and Therion. That was it. That's what we did last. Like you have the Spotify playlist open there. If you want to follow what we're listening to, we have a Spotify playlist called Hot Rockin'. Current listening. So go and check that out. But yeah, so we did that one last time around. Next one coming up, we'll be doing Ironstone, Blind Guardian, Devon Townsend, and Took Smith and the Restless Hearts. A recommendation from TC there in that one. Our next week, our stream will be a battle between Black Sabbath Volume 4 and Scorpions Lonesome Crow. That's what's coming up next stream on Thursday night next week, and we'll have a Patreon choice album as well in that one, which we'll get the votes on over the next few days. I think that's about it. Is there anything else you wanted to add there, Dave, before we do go to the bin? We always have to go to the bin. Otherwise, people will know we forget.
Yeah, no, nothing else.
All righty. Let's get to it. Let's get to the bin. Let's do this one. Dave, what are you feeding tonight?
Okay. Yeah, it's a tiny thing, but a lot of tiny things make a big thing. I'm not going to fucking save the planet. I'm not going to, change the world, but the last few years, we've been bunching up all our soft plastics like chip wrappers, all tiny little things, and taking them into Woolworths because they have plastic recycling. Coles do it too. Did it. They're not doing it anymore. It stopped all of a sudden. It's kind of gone under the radar, but the company that used to collect all this shit, Red Cycle, haven't been passing it on to companies that recycle this shit into other things. They've been storing it in a warehouse, which is now deemed to be an environmental problem and a fire hazard. So it's been going on for months and they haven't mentioned it. So the whole initiative has been scrapped. So all your soft plastic will now go straight into your red bin if that's your area. But, you know, as I said, it's a tiny little thing, but everyone did this tiny little thing. It becomes a big thing.
Yeah.
You know, one week, it's going to happen. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. But I'd like to do my little part, not preach it how everyone else does it. But I just think it's a really fucked up thing that deserves to go in the bin because it was certainly making a difference in the big scheme of things.
Yeah. I agree with you. There's a lot to be left, a lot left to be desired in this country's handling of recyclable materials. I'll put it that way. To feel the need to ship it offshore to begin was just disastrous. Just make an industry here and recycle the shit. I mean, fuck. We subsidize so much, we can't do that. It just fucking blows my mind. Mine, we're actually going to be serious. We try to get petty on the bin, but some weeks we go a bit serious, and this is one of those serious weeks because I'm binning the Herald Sun. And I mean, they deserve to be in the bin anyway. They're no better than toilet paper, to be honest, and probably toilet paper is the best use for it. But we've got a state election coming up in Victoria, and I don't care if you're a Dan fan or you're a Dan hater. There's plenty of reasons to feel how you feel about the man or the policies of the day. And good, bad, or otherwise, I can see plenty of arguments to be made for and against either side of the coin you land on. The trouble is that instead of having a reasoned debate or a presentation about policy or any of those things, what did the Herald Sun do? They went and did a front page story on the 2 steps that broke his back. I was like, for fuck's sake, seriously, what are we even doing at this point in time? If anyone buys the Herald Sun, just fucking put it in the bin. Don't buy, don't subscribe. That whole thing is a gutter rag at best, and it does nothing to help us because there are plenty of things to be critical of no matter what party you're talking about. I'd rather have a meaningful conversation about that as opposed to whipping up more conspiracy theory nonsense about how 2 steps broke his back. For the record, you can do some serious damage to yourself doing the most innocuous things. I blew my back out 20 plus years ago walking across my bedroom. And it still bothers me to this day. I've got permanent issues out of that one that I've got to contend with on a day-to-day basis because I walked across my bedroom. And that's all it can take is just the one thing to go wrong. So falling down 2 stairs, yeah, you might not. I can't believe they went around as a full page, front story, fucking whatever else. In the bin, fuckheads. It's pointless and doesn't help us at all. It doesn't educate the public, just whips up anger for no fucking reason that doesn't actually accomplish anything apart from make people angry when you want them to make an informed decision. I don't care which way you vote. Just make an informed decision. And we need the media to help us to be informed, not doing that gutter trash. Just fuck off, get in the bin. Sooner that thing goes out of business and we kick Murdoch out of the country, the better off. Fuck him. Like, honestly, fuck off. Anyway, I get angry at that sort of shit. we try not to be serious too often, but that one pissed me off. It's like, you fucking bastards. And it doesn't serve anyone. Anyway, whatever. I'll quit rabbiting on. Back to comments. Darren says in positive news that new Orianthe is really good. Spoiler alert, we both liked it. If you like that one, check out O from 2020 as well. That's a fucking barn burner of an album. Darren also said, another good one, guys. Have a great night. Thank you for that. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Helen said, here's the absolute truth, punters. Yeah, when we get to the bin, we can, it's either fun or we go off. Rowan says, pro tips. Toe Hard are doing a live stream on Twitch. Something to jump onto after this, perhaps. I'll put a link in Discord. Thank you. I'll have to go and check that as well. Yeah. And we got to check out that. We haven't got around to it yet. We're going to be doing their new album soon. Hopefully, we'll get to that one as well. David says, oof, down tune to C sharp and crank it hands down. I'm a Sabbath diehard. There we go. That is a balance battle coming up next week. Helen says, Australia buys plastic from Japan because they wash and clean it. There's no such thing here as recycling. That's why there are barges sailing in the world that carry rubbish. They never, ever dock. Yeah, it's just nonsense what's going on at the moment. Darren says, have a look who writes for that rag, Andrew. Bunch of knobs. Yes, they are. I know, but it's also the editorial content that makes a fucking issue of it too. Jeff says, you've got to say you had that little woman on your shoulders at the time, Dave.
What?
I don't know. What would have been? I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Andrew. Andrew, I mean. Which woman on my shoulders? A little woman on my shoulders. And he says, talking about me. Now I'm confused.
I'm confused too.
I'm very confused. I'm sorry, Jeff. I'm confused as fuck. Vinny says, my bin, having to mow the lawn every fucking fortnight on the back of this rain and sunshine lately. It's cutting into my nap time.
Yeah.
It is an issue. Oh, okay. Yes, here we go. When you hurt your back. Right. Now I get it. Okay, cool. So I moved well and truly past it. No, actually, I didn't. As funny as that would have been, it was innocuous. I took like I would love to make it a fun story, but it's really not. I just walked and I just step over something on the floor and just stepped over something, and it was just sort of it just ended me. I was out of work for ages, and it's fucked me. And there's long-term issues with that'll never go away just because of one little step that went wrong.
Just reminds me of that Rowan Atkinson skit where he's doing the Indian restaurant with the drunk people. That's a deceptively
the floor is deceptively flat. The floor is deceptively flat. Oh, fuck. That was brilliant. Yes, the floor was deceptively flat. I just stepped over something that I'd left on the floor. I stepped over it so I didn't step on it, and then it just went bang. And decades later, it's still something I deal with. So, yeah, 2 steps falling on it. If you actually fall on it with your full weight, I can imagine exactly how that would really fuck you up. Anyway, Helen says, did you know what? Your show is brilliant and music is universal answer. That is the fun part. That is why we do things. That's what it's all about, and that's what gets us through the day-to-day shit that pisses us off. So there we go. Yep. But on that note, I think it's time we mosey on out of here, Dave. It's been an absolutely fantastic show. Thank you all so much for joining us. And if you tune in later on via the video or the audio side of things, we do appreciate you taking the time to do that as well. It's fun whenever you get to tune in or however you get to do so. Just make sure you hit the like button and spread the word around. We'll try and get some more people to join us and make this more fun. But it's going well. Enjoying the newer format. It's a lot of fun. So anything else there, Dave?
I think I'm done. Say enough stupid shit for the night.
We're back in with more stupid takes next week, so join us at the same time and place. Or actually Thursday night next week for that one. Nicole says, thanks, guys. You're most welcome. And Vinny says, good night, Andrew. Good night, Sober Dave. So there you go. Thank you all for joining us. We'll see you all again very, very soon. Thank you all for having some fun with us tonight. It's been grand. But we'll see you all again next time. Until then, though, I'm Andrew.
I'm Dave.
As always,
drink up if you're lucky enough to.
I am. And rock on.